Hi students, welcome back to class. Let's continue the way of the world. So now we are moving to Act 3. So let's see what happens in Act 3. So the scene in this act is a room in Lady Wishfort's house. So Lady Wishfort is at the dressing table. It's mentioned that she is at her toilet, waiting. So she is actually waiting for Foible. So we have seen Foible in the previous act. We have seen Foible at Park. So Foible has to come back, and Lady Wishfort needs Foible's help to uh, dress herself. That is to put makeup on her face. So she is very scared to meet anybody without applying the makeup on her face. If anybody sees her before makeup and after her makeup, they won't be able to understand this is the one and the same person. So here we can see another maid, that is Peg. So she is actually employed very recently in the Lady Wishfort's house, but she does not know how to apply makeup on her face. So here Lady Wishfort, in her eagerness and in her tension, asks for red makeup. So then this Peg is not able to understand what this lady is asking for. So she thinks that it must be for wine. So is it for red wine or brandy? That's what she asks. Actually, Lady Wishfort is asking for the red color, red paint, that means rouge, that to be applied on her face. But here Peg cannot apply makeup on her face because Foible has already closed that makeup cabinet and the key is with her. So it's not possible for her to unlock it and apply the cosmetics on her face. So at this time, they can hear somebody knocking at the door. So the door is open and it's Mrs. Marwood. So Mrs. Marwood is greeted here and she is a very good friend of Lady Wishfort. That is what Lady Wishfort thinks. But we know that Mrs. Marwood is not a friend of anybody. So Mrs. Marwood just comes here and she tells that she has seen Foible at the garden, that is at the park, talking to Mirabel. Now, Lady Wishfort is again tense. She does not know what this Foible must be telling, whether she has told about her plans to get married to Sir Rowland, what will be the condition. And this Mirabel is such a cunning fellow. He knows how to elicit information from anybody. He knows how to trick anybody, and with him anything will be revealed. So that kind of a tactics he has. So she feels scared of her. I mean, of her future. She does not know what will happen if Mirabel comes to know that she is trying to get married to Sir Rowland, and everybody will be making fun of her. So all those thoughts come to her, and you can see this woman's tension. So here Mrs. Marwood just tries to comfort her by telling that Foible is not that kind of a person whose integrity will be lost, who will be true to Lady Wishfort. But here the problem is not with Foible, the problem is Mirabel, because Mirabel is such a cunning man. He has clever tactics to elicit information from anybody. So anybody unknowingly will be revealing things about themselves, things about himself or herself or about others. So that is what she tells here. And she's very angry with Foible for talking to Mirabel. So she wants Foible to come here and she's ready to, fire her. She's ready to bombard her with questions. She's getting ready for that. So at this time, we can see the Foible coming to the place. So Foible knows that her lady is waiting for her, and the lady wants that cosmetics very badly. The makeup should be applied on her face, otherwise the lady will not be happy with her looks. So she knows it very well. So that's why she makes haste to reach here. And so here she reaches, and immediately our Lady Wishwood asks her, and she just asks where she has been, and she knows that she has been talking to Mirabel. So now Foible knows that Mrs. Marwood has already come here and she has reported all these things. And one more thing I have to tell you is that Lady Wishwood is asked to go out of the room. That is, there is a closet. It's a small room attached to her chamber. So she is asked to sit in the closet and just spend her time there. There are some books. So what she wants is actually to talk to Foible without being seen by Mrs. Marwood. So she wants to have some time with foible, and she'll be able to interrogate her thoroughly, and she can know what she has told to Mirabel. So Mrs. Fainall comes later, but here let me just tell you what Foible tells. Foible is also very clever. She knows how to cook up stories, and she says that Mr. Mirabel has insulted her because of because of her attachment to Lady Wishford, and she has given a quick-witted reply to Mr. Mirabel, and Mr. Mirabel has even made fun of Lady Wishford, saying that she is just frippery. That means she is just old clothes only, and she is now ready to get married to any officer who has retired from army. She is very old. See, she's superannuated. She's eager to get married to anybody. So that kind of a woman is Lady Wishford. So such remarks are passed about Lady Wishford. That is what Foible says. So Foible, anyway, just says that she gives a quick-witted reply to her Mirabel, and she will not tell him. She says that he's going to be disinherited, and he will see what is going to happen to him very soon. So here we can see Foible's clever way of dealing with things. So she also has the cunningness to hide things. She also knows how to cook up stories then and there itself. So here, some other things are mentioned here. That is, it is mentioned that Mirabel just says that he knows that the Lady Wishford is trying to bring a match between his uncle and Melaman, and he is going to spoil that also. So that is also mentioned here. So here, Bible tells that Mirabel does not have any doubt about Lady Wishford's intention to marry his uncle. That is not at all there. So that is a kind of comfort to Lady Wishford. So in that way, she pacifies Lady Wishford by telling that he does not have any doubt about her interest in the matter. And now Lady Wishford is again very, very angry, and she cannot digest the words of Mirabel, and she says that how dare he calls superannuated, then here actually old clothes, frippery. How dare he calls all these words to Lady Wishford? So that is what she says. So she thinks that she wants to kill him. If she gets him now, she will kill him. She will wreak her vengeance on him. In any way, she is going to do that. So she shows her anger and frustration with Mirabel for speaking all these things. After that, we can see Foible's statement about Sir Rowland. So here, Foible says that she has given the photo of Lady Wishford to Sir Rowland, and Sir Rowland is very eager to see her, and he started looking at the photo, and the picture. It's not photo, actually the picture. He started looking at the picture, and he started worshipping the picture. If worshipping a picture is sin, then he is actually worshipping the picture of Lady Wishford, and he is very eager to see Lady Wishford. He cannot control himself, so that is what is happening to him. So that gives a lot of satisfaction to Lady Wishford, and she thinks that that man will come that day itself. And he says one more. She says one more thing. She will meet Sir Rowland that day, and the next day she will get married to Sir Rowland, because she wants to disinherit Mirabel by marrying Mirabel's uncle. So this is the thing she can do, and she's ready to do that. In that way only she'll be able to show her vengeance. So that is what she says here. And other doubts are there in Lady Wishford's mind. She just asks whether this man will be taking advances, or whether she has to make advances to him. That means she has to initiate the courtship, or he will initiate the courtship. Whether she has to go or he has to go. So that is, who has to go first? That is the question here. Because it's not modesty from her part to woo first. So if he woos first, then it is easy for her. So she really wants this man to make some sexual advances, which she will be reciprocating, to which she will be responding positively. That is what she thinks. So she is actually in an excited mood, full of excitement to meet Sir Rowland, and she does not know what she has to do, how she has to um, receive him. But still, we can see a lot of feelings going through her mind. So after that, we can see Lady Wishford just going out of the room. Then, and you have to remember that Mrs. Marwood is still in the room that is attached to Lady Wishford's room. So at this time, Mrs. Fainall comes and talks to Foible, and she says that she's scared that Mrs. Marwood must have come and reported about the meeting between Foible and Mirabel. So Foible just asks, okay, why should she be scared? So Mrs. Fainall says that she knows everything about their plot. She knows what they are going to do. Everything is known to her, and because Mirabel has already informed all these things, and it is mentioned that Mirabel's uncle, that is Bakewell, is going to play the role of Mirabel's uncle, Sir Rowland, and so then this uncle will create difficulties for Lady Wishford, and to remove those difficulties, like a savior, Mr. Mirabel will come and save her on the condition that um, Millamant will be married to Mirabel with all her fortune. So this is the plan he has, and so here Foible says that no, yeah, she's such a good woman to assist her former lover in his venture to marry Millamant. So she just says that she's very sweet, okay, because she also knows that Mrs. Fainall has soft feelings for Mirabel, and she knows about their previous courtship, their intimacy. She knows. So in the conversation, she tells about all these things. Okay, so she says that your ladyship is the pattern of generosity, sweet lady, to be so good. Mr. Mirabel cannot choose but be grateful. I find your ladyship has his heart still. Now, madam, I can safely tell your ladyship our success. Mrs. Marwood had told my lady, but I warrant I managed myself. So, from these words that Mr. Mirabel cannot choose but be grateful, I find your ladyship as his heart still. So, that shows that she still has affection for him, even though Mrs. Fainall has love and affection for Mr. Mirabel. She is ready to sacrifice her love for Mirabel. For the sake of Mirabel's welfare. So that is what Foible says. So the one who is sitting in the closet overhears all these things, and she understands about the former intimacy between Mrs. Fainall and Mirabel. So she is now growing with jealousy. So that is what we can see. But you have to remember that nobody knows that, except Lady Wishford, nobody knows that she is in the closet. So even Mrs. Fainall and Foible do not have any doubt about the presence of Mrs. Marwood in the room attached to the chamber. So they don't have any doubt at all. So that's why they speak freely, thinking that Mrs. Marwood will not, or anybody will know about their plans. After saying all these things, they leave the room. So Mrs. Marwood just comes out of the room, and we can see her on the stage. And now she says, okay, that Foible is the one who is actually playing for these people. And she is an instrument to bring matches. She is an instrument to carry out the relationship between Millamant and Mirabel. Another thing she knows is that this woman, Mrs. Fainall, already had a deep relationship with Mirabel, and it is because of her excess of relationship or her surfeit that she does not show much interest in Mirabel. That shows that she did not have a pure heart before marrying Mr. Fainal. She had already cheated Mr. Fainal in her premarital relationship. That is what she wants to convey to Mr. Fainal. And she wants to say that this lady was not loyal to him, and she will be conveying that very soon. And uh, Lady Wishford comes back to the room and she says that she apologizes for keeping her in the room for a long time, because she knows that her nephew will be coming very soon, and she has to make all preparations to welcome Sir Rowland, and she has other visitors. So that's a busy day for her, and she has to get herself ready to meet Sir Rowland. So she is actually in an excited state and in a tense state. So she apologizes to Mrs. Marwood for keeping her in the closet for a long time. So at this time, Mrs. Marwood, accepts the apology, and she does not say that she has not felt hurt or anything, because she gets much entertainment in the closet. She has already received that. Over here in the conversation, she has already received that. Then she just says, asks about the marriage proposal between Millamant and Sir Wilford Whitwood. Millamant and Sir Wilford Whitwood, they are cousins. So, and she says that Wilford Whitwell is again planning to travel abroad, and he has reached the age of 40, and he thinks that he has to tour to other places and he has to see all these places. And here Mrs. Marwood says that it is time for him to think about a settled life. Why can't he marry Millamant, Mrs. Millamant? And she thinks that it's a suitable match. So Lady Wishford also thinks that okay, that must be a suitable match. That is good only. And why can't she think about the marriage between Millamant and Sir Wilford Whitwood? So she thanks Mrs. Marwood for making her think about this kind of a proposal. And then we can see Lady Wishford's nephew arriving, that is Sir Wilford Whitwood. So he will be arriving soon. Before that, we can see Millamant's anger. Okay, so Millamant is angry with the Petulant's conversation, and Millamant, because Petulant keeps on saying something or other, what he says is that what he says is nonsense. He says something and he himself contradicts what he says. So it is too much for Millamant to bear. Sometimes some people's talk will be very painful, very irritating. So in the same way, Petulant's talk is again very irritating to Millamant. She just loses her temper, and she feels very angry with the Petulant's conversation, because he himself contradicts whatever he has stated. So what kind of a conversation is that? And it seems to be logical. Unnecessarily, Whitwood and Petulant keep on arguing, and Whitwood has a habit of telling comparisons one after the other. So there is no point in listening to their conversation. So that has brought a kind of headache and that anger in her mind. And she says that she has broken her fan in anger. Because of the anger, so she has been using the fan to what do you say, to fan herself. That means to get the breeze, and she breaks a fan in anger, and that's a part of the fashion also. And so she wants another fan, so that is what she asks Mincing. Okay, means she asks her maid Mincing to get another fan. And now we can see Mrs. Marwood conversing with the Millamant, and Mrs. Marwood just asks Millamant the reason for her anger, and she says that okay, this is Petulant's talk has actually made her very angry. And Mrs. Marwood is very jealous of Millamant also, because I've already told you she has an intention to marry Mirabel. She's actually interested in Mirabel. So Mirabel, Mirabel's heart is stolen by Millamant. Otherwise, Millamant is in the heart of Mirabel. He does not pay attention to anybody. So she is definitely jealous of Millamant, and she says that everybody knows why she is actually entertaining this Petulant and Whitwood. There must be reasons for that, and everybody in the town knows about her courtship with Mirabel, and that she is in love with Mirabel is an open secret. And here Millicent also, in a very jovial way, she says that it's an open secret. The same way, it's a secret that it's an open secret that she has revealed about her love affair with Mirabel to Lady Vishnu. And why she has done is also very clear. So everybody knows the reason for Mrs. Marwood's revelation of the love affair between Millamant and Mirabel. It's okay, why she has done that spy work, everybody knows. So she just speaks in a jovial way, and she says, she actually says, ha ha ha, okay, it's again a kind of matter of laughter for her, why she has done all these things. And here, Mrs. Marwood says that, she's annoyed. So Milliman says, no, she's mistaken. Milliman says that, Mrs. Marwood is mistaken. And Mrs. Marwood just wants her not to cheer another fan in her anger. And Milliman just shows that, in a very sarcastic way, she says, okay, ha 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 ha, okay. And she says that Mirabel's constancy has actually made him ignorant to others' advances in love. That means Mirabel is very much in love with Melaman, and he has ignored others' interest in Mirabel. The meaning is this: he has ignored Mrs. Marwood's interest in Mirabel. Mirabel does not entertain Mrs. Marwood at all, has never entertained, and that is something she cannot accept. She feels bitter about it. From that point onwards, she is angry with Mirabel, and she does not want Mirabel and Millamant to get married. So that for that, actually, she does anything that is possible. So she says that though she here Mrs. Marwood gets very much angry, and she says that she does not love Millamant, she does not love Mirabel, she hates Mirabel. So Mrs. Millamant says that she also does not love Mirabel, but Mirabel loves Millamant. Okay, though she does not love Mirabel, and his heart is full of Millamant only. So, and she just makes fun of her age and beauty also. And Millamant seems to be more beautiful. She's more beautiful than Mrs. Marwood. And she says that if uh, if she can actually do anything about it, let her do. Okay, so that is what she says. So Mrs. Marwood is very angry with the insulting remarks of Melaman, and she says that her humor will not last longer. Okay, her raillery, that will not last longer. There will be time for her to cry. So she says that her confidence will not last long, because she has already planned what to be done. So she will not allow Melaman to get married to Mirabel. Okay, so she has already planned everything. That is what she. That is why she says that her confidence will not last long. So at this time, our Millamant says that, okay, let her just change her mood, okay, by song. So she just sings some songs, love song and all. So she just tries to entertain herself with the songs she sings. And now we can see Petulant and Whitwood coming. So Millamant just asks about their quarrel. They just quarrel for nothing. Okay, so if Petulant says something logical, Whitwood thinks that, okay, that has to be contradicted, then he will contradict. So here, even Petulant himself says that if he says black is black, if I have a humor to say it's blue, let that pass. So even when actually Pigwood says that black color is black, if Petulant feels like quarreling, arguing with him, he says that it is blue. So that kind of a nonsensical argument, okay, these people carry out. So this is a kind of disturbance to others also. So it's not any kind of a positive argument, okay, a negative argument only. Then we can see their debates, okay, which are not handled in a learned way. So Milliman just says how difficult it is to marry somebody who is illiterate. So the same thing is again, continued by Petulant, and he says that that will be very difficult only to marry somebody who is illiterate. Okay, so it will be equal to being hanged, and that is what he says. And Milliman cannot listen to these people's conversation any longer, and she just tells. She just leaves the place. She leaves with the mincing her maid. Now we can see Sir Wilford Whitwood coming. So Sir Wilford Whitwood is coming in his boots. So this is not the way actually. This boots show the, I mean, as if he's ready for travel. So he just comes in the boots, and the servant is seen here. So Wilford Whitwood asks for the lady. So the servant says that the lady must be in the house, okay? But here servant says that he's not able to recognize the lady now because he's employed in this house recently, and the lady looks different before makeup and after makeup. So he will not be able to understand, he will not be able to recognize this lady, that is Lady Vishwa. That is what he says. And Wilful just tells Miss Irwin to go and inform Lady Wishford that her nephew, Sir Wilford Whitwood, has come. So he just goes, and here Wilford Whitwood says that this man, that the servant seems to know, seems not to know about anybody. It seems that he does not know even his own name. That is what he says. And now we can see Petulant Whitwood and Sir Wilful Whitwood, okay, and Mrs. Marwood, all of them are there. So here Wilford Whitwood salutes Mrs. Marwood. So Mrs. Marwood tries to uh, welcome him, okay, and she tries to keep him occupied. And here Whitwood just tells others to look at his boots, okay, so that is again not a part of the fashion. So here Wilford Whitwood says something, and here he says, and he just immediately asks whether he has offended anybody. So he does not know how to converse with others. So he thinks that his conversation is completely different from the way the people in the town talk, and he keeps on asking whether he has offended anybody. So for for merriment, he will be saying something, and he asks this. And here Mrs. Marwood asks Wilford whether he recognizes his brother Wilford Whitwood. So even though they know that they are half brothers, we don't see them talking to one another, each other immediately. Later they start talking, and so Whitwood says that it's not fashionable in the town to recognize one's relations. That is why he does not show that he has recognized his half brother, Sir Wilford Whitwood. So these are actually some vanities we see, or the affectations we see in the 18th century society. So in the Restoration period and after that. So here he says that it's not a fashion among the people to when the people in the town show that they have recognized their kith and kin in the countryside. So that is the thing here. This is man actually comes from a rural area. So this is quite from rural area. So he does not want to show that he knows this person. Yeah, so Wilford says that it's again fashion is nothing, it's kind of a foolish thing only. And he says that he's a fop, he's a vain person. Okay, so vanity he's showing. Who Whitwood is showing vanity. That is what Sir Wilford Whitwood says. And he says that even the letters he has written to Sir Wilford Whitwood, one can notice the fopish kind of way, the style, the artificiality, the way he writes letters. So he has actually picked up the fashion of the town, and he has actually been writing even in a vain way. So that is what they have been doing. So anyway, Petulant just asks about Whitwood's former life, that means whether he has worked as an attorney's clerk for some time. So Whitwood says that he has worked as an attorney's clerk for some time, and only for some time. Sir Wilford Whitwood has actually come to help him, and Sir Wilford Whitwood was the guardian of Whitwood at that time. So that much of intimacy he had, not intimacy, that much of debt he has for Sir Wilford Whitwood. Even then, we don't see a kind of intimacy between these two. And then Mrs. Marwood just asks about Sir Wilford Whitwood's plans to travel abroad, and he says that he is ready to travel abroad, and if the wind is ready, if the ship is ready, if everything is ready, he does not want to delay, and he has to start his journey. and he settled everything, his affairs, and he just wants to go to other places. So Mrs. Mahmoud just says that it seems that his intention is go to France. And he says he does not know whether he has to go to France first or to other places. But one thing is that he is just trying to pick up French, a bit of French here and there, so that he will be able to converse with the people in the France and in other countries. Anyway, Mrs. Mahmoud speaks about an academy that is going to teach him French and foreign languages, which will help him to travel abroad. So at that time, we can find Lady Wishford and Fainall coming. Okay, so Lady Wishford welcomes Sir Wilford Whitwood, and so Wilford Whitwood is also happy to receive Lady Wishford's welcome, and Fainall also greets Lady. Same Fainall also greets Sir Wilford Whitwood. So we can see them greeting, and after that we can see Fainall and Mrs. Marwood just leaving the stage, and they leave the stage, and we can see them talking apart. So here, our Mrs. Marwood speaks about the former relationship of his wife, Mrs. Fainall, with Mirabel. And he is informed about the foibles part in trying to bring Millamant and Mirabel together. So he is very angry, and he just thinks that he's actually cuckolded by his wife. Even before he's married, he's cuckolded. That means cuckold is somebody who is a husband. This cuckold is a husband of an adulterous wife. So what he wants to say is that even before he has entered into marital relationship, so here he is cuckolded by his wife. So it is as if he's born with horns. So I mean, cuckolds have bones. Horns, not bones. Cuckolds have horns. That is the belief. So he says it as if he has the horns of the cuckold, and Cuckold. Okay, so that is the word, and so he gets irritated with Fainall, and he thinks that he does not have love for Mrs. Fainall in any way. She also does not have that. So only one thing is in his mind, to get more money from her. Okay, so that is what he thinks. Then he says, here actually he uses the title of the play, Way of the World. I'll just read those sentences for you. That is in page 140. Page number 140. While then foible is a board, an errand rank matchmaking board, and I it seems am a husband, a rank husband, and my wife a very errant rank wife. So what he says is that he is a husband who is a bad, foul husband, but at the same time his wife is worse than him, all in the way of the world. So he is in the way of the world, his wife is also in the way of the world. So here he has to death to be an anticipated cuckold, a cuckold in embryo. That means even before his marriage, he is actually a cuckold. And he says cuckold in embryo, that means that may also have the meaning that he is an illegitimate child. Okay, so it is not, here he uses the word step to be outwitted, to be outjitted, out matrimonied. So it is as if he is an illegitimate child, that he has to bear these consequences. It is as if he is born with stags, it's as if he is born with the horns on his head like a stag. So he says that he is cuckolded even before entering a marital relationship. That is what has happened to him. And only one thing is there in his mind, how to let her go. That is how to release himself from this dirty marriage. So Mrs. Marwood says that shake it off. If he is not happy with the marriage, only one thing he has to do, that is to just leave that marital relationship. Okay, and it's the opportunity for him to leave it. And then another thing is that prevent the plot to get married. Don't try to bring success to the plot of Mirabel so that they will get married. So if that can be done, half of Belaman's fortune will come to Fainal. Through Mrs. Fainal, it will come to Fainal. So it cannot be parted. That is what she says. Okay, so here Fainal says that anyway she has played her cards. Okay, so now he is also going to play his cards. So Mrs. Mahmud just says that he has actually married to keep him. That means for livelihood, for his better life, he is married. He does not have any money on him. He's not at all wealthy. So he has married this rich young widow for the sake of money. He has never loved her, and even now also he does not feel anything. And Mrs. Marwood is now giving a plan that is again to inform Lady Wishford about the conduct of her daughter, Mrs. Fainall, and to threaten her if she does not give him the money he demands, her reputation will be spoiled. That is, he will publicize about the premarital affair with Mirabel, and to keep her reputation, Lady Bishford will be ready to do anything. So that is what she says. I'll just read out those lines for you. Mrs. Marwood says, "Discover to my lady your wife's conduct, threaten to part with her. My lady loves her." You just discover, that means you just reveal to Lady Wishford uh, the conduct of the character of Mrs. Fainall. Lady Wishford definitely loves her daughter and will come to any composition to save her reputation, take the opportunity of breaking it just upon the discovery of this imposture. So she will be ready to do anything to save the reputation, to protect the reputation of her daughter and her family. So then this is the time for her to forget about the niece and fortune. If the niece's fortune is asked, that also she will be ready to give for the sake of protecting the reputation of her daughter. So this is the plan Mrs. Marwood tells to her lover, Mr. Fainall. So Mr. Fainall is now planning to carry out all these things. But one problem has occurred, that is Mrs. Marwood has spoken about the marital relationship between Millamant and Sir Wilfrid. So Fainall says that that's not a problem. He will see that Sir Wilfrid Bidwood is drunk, and so he will what do you say, worsen the situation, and Lady Wishford will not feel like giving this niece to Sir Wilfrid Bigwood. So he will just make him drunk that night, that day. So that is what he is planning to do. Okay. And then, so here he is just thinking, why Faith? He's just thinking about his relationship with Mrs. Fainall. Why Faith? I'm thinking of it. Let me see. I'm married already, so that's over. My wife has played the jade with me. Well, that's over too. I never loved her, or if I had, why that would have been over too by this time. So here he says that he has never loved her. If at all he has loved her, even a trace of love he has for her is over now. Okay, so he is not jealous of her. That is also certain, because he is not loved her. He is wary of her. That is the only thing. Okay, and he will be wary also. There is no end of that. So here he says that there is too much to hope thus far concerning my repose. Now for my reputation, as to my own, I married not for it, so that it's out of question. When he thinks about his reputation, that also does not matter, because he is not married for reputation or anything. He is married for money. Okay, and she already has lost her reputation. In the same way, before marriage, this man has also lost his reputation. That is what he says. But in front of the society, Mr. Fainall had reputation even before marriage. So Mrs. Marwood just says that, but marriage is honorable. Fainall says, how can marriage be honorable if Cuckoldom is also a part of marriage. So marriage is not honorable. That is what he says. So anyway, Mrs. Marwood decides to write a letter, and that letter will be written in such a handwriting that she will not be able to understand anything. So she will write a letter to Lady Wishford, revealing that this Sir Rowland is not the uncle of Mirabel, that is Mr. Bakewell in disguise, and so that will be, that plot will be uh, foiled by her letter. That is what she has decided. And Fainal just concludes, okay, the act ends with this Fainal's words, jealous, no. So here Mrs. Marwood just says that, tells Fainal that he should at least be convinced that Mrs. Marwood does not love Mirabel. She hates Mirabel, and he need not be jealous of her. So Fainal says, jealous, no. By this case, let husbands be jealous, but let the lovers still believe. Or if we doubt, let it be only to endure his pleasure and prepare the joy that follows when he proves his mistress true, but lest husband's doubts convert to endless jealousies. So he says that let husbands be jealous, okay, but let lovers believe. He's not bothered about the sanctity of marriage. So if at all he is jealous of the lover, that will be for the joy that follows, because when it is proved that the mistress is true, they'll be getting more joy, and the husband's doubts will be converted to endless jealousies. So that is what he says. uh, I am single and will hurt no more with them. True, I wear the badge, but I'll disown the order. And since I take my leave of them, I care not if I leave them a common motto to their common breast, common crest. So here he says that he has the badge of matrimony, but he's now going to, because he's not planning to come out of the marital relationship. He has that badge of matrimony, but he's not going to do the duties of husbands. Is coming, planning to come out of the responsibilities of husbands, and he does not even want to be called a husband. Okay? So that is what he says. All husbands must or pain or shame endure. The wise too jealous are fools to secure. So he says that all husbands have to endure. They may have to endure in pain, or they may have to endure in shame. Wise husbands have more pain, because they'll understand about the unfaithfulness of their wives, whereas fools will not understand that. So fools will be secure. Now let me come to analysis. So here we can see Lady Wishford's eagerness to look young and get married. So that is made fun of. Okay, that in the very first part we can see. And we have already seen unfaithful marital relationships, unworthy friendships also we have seen. You remember that Mrs. Marwood and Mrs. Fainall are seen as friends, but they are not friends. And affectations in the society can also be seen in the play, because there is no meaning in the marital relationship. They just show that they love each other in front of others, but there is no love at all in the relationship. And we can see extramarital relationships in their lives. And Millamant has humor and wit, so that also can be seen. Millamant has actually a taste for good relationships also. So all those things can also be seen here in the play. So with that, I'm concluding today's lecture. So students, stay safe at home. So the lecture is a bit long, but listen to it. So with that, I have concluded Act 3. So stay safe at